In this episode, we talk about psychological delay tactics that are preventing you from getting what you really want, what a New York Times article says interest rates are going to be doing, and the rule of thumb when it comes to interest rates and how that affects your buying power. What's up? I am Darin, and you're watching Three Things with Darin. This is episode 8. Thing number 1. So when it comes to delay tactics or procrastination or whatever it is, when it comes to things like saving more money, like for example, maybe with a down payment on buying a house, or moving into that next house that you really want, or starting to be an investor, or things just like trying to get that new job, start your own business, lose some weight, start exercising, whatever it is, there's interesting things that that we need to be aware of, because I believe the problem named is the problem solved. And so when we look at those psychological delay tactics, we tend to have this idea, at least from what I observe, that a lot of people look at things that it needs to be an all or nothing. That before I start my business, before I quit my job and start my business, I need to have $1 million idea. I need to have a bunch of funding saved up. I need to already be making $100,000 of profit in that business. And since I can't do that, I'm never even going to try to start it. Or when it comes to a down payment, because I can't save up 20% down for the home, and I can't buy my dream home. I can't buy my 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath, 3-car garage with on the waterfront somewhere. I'm never going to buy a house. And in a podcast I was listening to recently with Tim Ferriss and Ramit Sethi, Ramit was talking about how he was responding to a bunch of emails, and he was asking his email list, hey, what's something that you're challenged with right now? What's something that you're struggling with? And a woman responded back with, I'd like to start running 3 days a week, but I just can't seem to start. And his response was, well, why don't you start running 1 day a week? And she responded back with, well, that would be foolish. What does that really get me? What would be the point of that? And that's one of those psychological delay tactics that people take. Just be aware of that. Are you taking a look at it has to be all or nothing? Because the Persinger philosophy is start where you can start. So the rule of thumb is that a 1% change in an interest rate affects 10% of your purchasing power. You just got to keep this in mind, that the value of the home has nothing to do with whether you can afford it or not. That's only one little piece of the puzzle. It really comes down to what is your mortgage payment, right? The only people that care about what a true value of the home is it 200,000, 300,000, what's the asking price? Is if I have cash. Otherwise, if I'm going to be getting a mortgage on something, I'm concerned about how much is my monthly payment going to be. Because if I'm looking at a $300,000 home, but interest rates are 20%, that drastically impacts what my monthly mortgage is going to be. I can probably actually only afford a $100,000 home then. But if it's a $300,000 home and an interest rate is 1%, I can all of a sudden that becomes much more affordable. So realize that when you're searching for homes online, before you're even starting to talk to an agent, you want to get an idea of what it is that is available out there. Are you really actually looking at what your purchasing power is? Because if you haven't talked to a mortgage lender yet, You probably really don't know. So it starts at that idea of figuring out what your purchasing power is. Otherwise, looking at the value of a home, that tells you a very small portion of the story. So let's take a look at this rule of thumb of how a 1% increase in rates and what that, there's a good chance that that's going to be happening according to thing number 2 of what that does to your purchasing power. So check this out. If we're looking at a $300,000 home and interest rates are 4.25, your principal and interest payment, so we're not going to talk about your taxes, insurance, things like that, just your principal and interest, to keep this simple, would be $1,476, okay? Now, if rates went up 1%, that means that the value of the home would have to come down to $270,000 for your payment to be somewhat similar, $1,491. So a home value of $270,000, a rate of 5.25 means that your P&I, your mortgage payment, would be $1,491. If the home value stayed the same at $300,000 and the rate bumps up to 5.25, that means your mortgage payment bumps up to $1,657. So almost $200 more a month versus that rate being at 4.25. So going back to thing number 1 now, if you're going, well, I need to save more of a down payment, I'm just not ready yet, I'm going to wait, I want home prices to do this or whatever. If you delay and rates bump up that point, and you're looking at a $300,000 home because you're like, well, I want 3 bedrooms, I want 2 baths, I want this type of home, but then the rate drops, the rate goes up, the value of the home that you're going to be able to afford is going to be less. You're probably only going to be able to afford a $270,000 home. So what can you get for that? Are you going to have to sacrifice a bigger lot? Are you going to have to sacrifice a master bedroom suite? Are you going to have to sacrifice a bathroom? Are you going to have to sacrifice a bedroom? What are you going to have to sacrifice because you keep delaying those tactics? You keep going, well, let me wait. The world doesn't wait. So I know that we went really deep into this one, talking about psychological delay tactics, interest rates, and purchasing power. So you might want to go back and look at this one again. But when I get great information, great questions coming from you guys. So this was one of the videos that was inspired by a conversation that I was having with someone about this. When I get those types of questions, I know that I can go deep, and I want to be able to go deep because I want to provide you with lots of value. So if you have questions, if you want to start a conversation with me, you can email me questions@darinpersinger.com or find me on Twitter @DarinPersinger.